I would love to see, what you brought with you today.
Okay. Let me see if I can get it rolling.
Yep.
Hey, fake Ron, it's me, the real Ron Eddings.
I'm the real Ron, and I'm sitting with Iain Jackson. Who are you? Who is this? Who is this bot that I'm talking to?
I think there's been a mix-up. I'm really Ron Eddings. You're the one who's got it all wrong.
What's Ron's social security number?
I can't share personal information like that, but I can tell you more about my work or interests if you like.
What do you do, Ron?
I co-founded Hacker Valley Media, where we explore cybersecurity topics and tell great stories. It's all about making tech engaging and accessible. What about you?
That is so good. That is so freaking good. Bye, Ron. What?
Yeah, nice to talk
I got
to yourself.
goosebumps because that's a lot better than I would have ever thought.
Who says tech can't be human?
What's going on, Hacker Valley fam? Welcome back to the show. We are at Black Hat 2024. I'm excited for this episode because we're speaking about one of my favorite subjects, artificial intelligence, but with a hint and a perspective with cybersecurity. My special guest for this episode is Iain Jackson, Academy Hive Leader at CovertSwarm. Welcome to the podcast, Iain.
Thank you very much. It's really good to be here.
It is great to have you. I've been super excited to learn more about CovertSwarm. And when the team was telling me that we should be speaking about social engineering and AI and all the things that come along with it, super excited. But I think it would only be right to start off with, what is your experience with AI and cybersecurity or social engineering? How does one even get experience in this area?
Yeah, I think I kind of came into the AI stuff in the same kind of way that other people do, which is the
ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. It's completely right. So it starts off with that kind of. So I had my basic stuff that I did, the cybersecurity stuff, the social engineering. Love doing those things, but fundamentally, as a human, I'm lazy, and something like ChatGPT comes up, and I see an angle for it to be, make my life easier.
Yeah.
So I start using it, and from that point on, you start seeing avenues that potentially it could be useful, not only to make my life easier, but to make my life more fun.
Yeah.
Which is a goal of mine generally, is for things to be more fun that I do. And just to be a little more smart about stuff,
Right. So when we were talking about the episode and, kind of like doing the scoping, you were like, Ron, I'm going to bring something special. I'm going to show you and if an AI were to interpret you in some way. So I would love to see, what you brought with you today.
Okay. Let me see if I can get it rolling.
Yep.
Hey, fake Ron, it's me, the real Ron Eddings.
Hey, Ron, it's Iain Jackson. How are you doing?
Hey, Ian. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Actually, I lied. I'm the real Ron, and I'm sitting with Iain Jackson. Who are you? Who is this? Who is this bot that I'm talking to?
I think there's been a mix-up. I'm really Ron Eddings. You're the one who's got it all wrong.
What's Ron's social security number?
I can't share personal information like that, but I can tell you more about my work or interests if you like.
What do you do, Ron?
I co-founded Hacker Valley Media, where we explore cybersecurity topics and tell great stories. It's all about making tech engaging and accessible. What about you?
That is so good. That is so freaking good. Bye, Ron. What?
Yeah, nice to talk
I got
to yourself.
goosebumps because that's a lot better than I would have ever thought. I thought we were going to just play my voice back using like 11 labs.
No, it's just moved on so quickly now. It's really going ahead, and it's not perfect. It really isn't perfect, but you can kind of see the scope of what it's becoming, and start imagining what the kind of potential is from that point on. I think it's opened up a gateway of a lot of really fun stuff.
So how exactly does that work? 'Cause I'm really curious.
It's bringing together kind of technologies that we're all aware of now that, in terms of the voice cloning tech, which all those AI models have been built that work really effectively for it, alongside these large language models. And it just ties those things together in a really neat way. So along with the voice, and giving it you can give it knowledge and information in the background. You can give it files upon files of data about like something it needs to know about. And it just actively then brings all those things together, and then you talk to yourself.
So did you build this?
So I use an existing platform for it.
Yep.
Just because the scale of tech I would need running in the background.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in, if somebody's already done the hard work, use the work that's out there, in the best way possible.
When people see this, your socials are about to explode. They're going to be like, Ian, you got to show me exactly how you did this, because I need to do this for all my team members or friends or family. I would love to make one of my mom.
Yeah, I mean, so easy. Hit me up after this. I'll sort that out, no problem at all. And then we can even, with this particular service, we can set it up so it has a phone number. So somebody can call that phone number up and that voice will answer and have a conversation with them, which I find is a little bit creepy in a way. There's something a little eerie about that. And on the other side of that, you can also have it actively calling. So you can give it a list of phone numbers and just tell it to go ahead and call those phone numbers for you.
So I could see many applications for this. And in the cyber world, we're here at Black Hat and DEF CON. In the cyber world, you'll see what the implications is someone could call someone that they know. Well, you can call someone that knows the victim of an attack and ask them for personal information. I've seen this on the news with Rachel Toback. She's done a few examples with major publications that showed how easy it is to create synthetic voice, but it didn't do the responses back and forth.
No. And I think the real worry with this, or the way it could move forward that makes it more dangerous, is the scale of it. The fact you can then automate it, and you wouldn't need to be having the conversation there. It could just be running on a machine somewhere and making these phone calls one after another. And you combine that with cloning phone numbers, which is a trivial thing to do, to be able to call from any phone number that you want to. And suddenly you've not only got the contact, you've got your iPhone and the name mum appears on the phone, and then you answer it and the voice is right.
Yeah.
And so those things really coming together is kind of the fact it could be fully automated is a kind of terrifying prospect. I mean, I find it a fun prospect, but it's a terrifying prospect.
Is this being used in the wild? Is there any applicability? Can this pass a human today? What are your thoughts there?
I don't think it's currently being used in the wild. I just don't think it's quite there yet.
Yeah.
Because it can go off the rails so easily and become obsessed with things like tacos or squirrel training, or it can just go along with a thread. Sometimes it even gets stuck in little loops with itself, where it just starts making kind of vocal noises at you for a while, like ums and ahs. But I think with the speed everything's moved, how quickly things like this have appeared, it's not going to be long until we're at a stage where it's actually a dangerous and convincing attack. Uncanny Valley still at the moment means that people will get a vibe on a lot of these that kind of sends them a different way, but it's definitely headed in that direction.
You have my undivided attention. Now I'm like, do I need CovertSwarm? Do I need to go and buy the product? So how does things like this type of research fit into what you do, and how does that fit into CovertSwarm?
The thing I do every day is the general social engineering stuff. My focus is mostly on, it started off with the pretexting things that I really enjoyed, coming up with fun ways to fool people. And it could be that you needed to do something simple to fool them, but I always like to find an exciting, fun way to fool them. I like to do things that would really just be interesting for me, which isn't necessarily always the most efficient way, but it'd be fun for me.
Yeah.
And that really, bringing this tech into it makes it substantially more fun. But when I'm speaking to clients about the potential of these threats going forward, the impact it makes on them when they hear their CEO talking to them over a video call, when they hear even an answer machine message from like a CTO, a fake answer machine message, that kind of stuff really is so impactful on people. It's one of those attacks that's such a human attack, the idea of a fake person calling you up. And so it now has become something that clients are looking for and asking for. They're genuinely interested to see how far we can push these attacks, which is a mixed bag, I think, but it's definitely an exciting area.
With a title like Academy Hive Leader, I would imagine that you are training and providing awareness to organizations or companies or people. What goes into that title?
So it's a mix of things. It's kind of dual pronged. I come from a teaching background. After I had my daughter, I did a degree in computer science in my 30s. And then I got a job supporting a lecturer, and I was lecturing ethical hacking at a local university. And then I started teaching 16 to 18-year-old cybersecurity. So I joined CovertSwarm as somebody who could support their graduate scheme going forward, which is something we do now. We take on people who aren't necessarily graduates, but just have the passion for the trade.
Yeah.
And try and give them a chance to enter the industry where a lot of people don't get the opportunity without having that solid background. Whereas we really try and open it up to anybody who really has the drive and shows they want to do it. And so I've been lucky enough to champion that and be part of that. I also do very regular meet the hacker talks for companies, which is one of my favorite things to do, which is like the normal security awareness thing, but going in and playing things like this to them and showing them actually from a hacker's perspective, why the stuff they do day to day makes them vulnerable, but showing them with things like this that leave them both shook up, but kind of like they've had a good time throughout the experience. And because I can throw these together so quickly, I can show them very quickly a cloned voice, spoofing their phone number, and those kind of studies of how that would be a scary thing, as part of their day to day.
I have to jump in for a second to share some details about our sponsor for this episode, CovertSwarm. When people think about cybersecurity, they're often focused on websites, apps, and annual testing. But the truth is, real risk doesn't just sit behind a firewall. The biggest vulnerabilities often come from people within your organization. I'm talking about phishing, human error, and gaps within training. This is where attackers focus and strike first. And if you're thinking that a phishing test is going to stop them, think again. Physical security is huge and it's often overlooked. Once a hacker gains access to your building, your entire cybersecurity perimeter is exposed. Our friends at CovertSwarm take security seriously. So seriously that they're constantly attacking their clients through digital, social, and physical methods to find the cracks before bad guys do. They show you how they got in, and they also will work with you to help you shut those doors for good. CovertSwarm is made up of expert team members that are relentless in finding the impactful security findings before the attacker does. Those who take security seriously don't test their defenses once a year, they subscribe to CovertSwarm. Head on over to CovertSwarm.com to learn more about their capabilities and let them know Hacker Valley sent you. Thank you, CovertSwarm, for sponsoring this episode. I've been wondering, where does synthetic voices fall on the spectrum of deep fakes? Is a synthetic voice a deep fake?
It is in common parlance a deep fake. And when clients come to us and say, we want a deep fake, usually that's what they mean.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't strictly categorize it as that. I think it's a different entity. It's like deepfake light.
Yeah.
But I think it's more effective than the actual video, the real deepfakes with the video and the audio, because I think it overcomes some of those uncanny valley things that currently like trigger people. And I'm finding more and more ways to work around the uncanny valley thing and tuck in, hide away those bits that make people go, this didn't feel right. There's something amiss with that.
So for anyone that hasn't heard of Uncanny Valley, how would you describe what that is?
It's that innate sense we have that when something is almost right, but not quite right. And it is very particular to, in its usual expression of how it relates between humans. So when you're having a conversation and you just get that feeling somewhere in yourself that something isn't matching up, that something feels amiss. And I think anecdotally, it's something I really struggle with because I want to give people the advice to say, really listen to that part of yourself. But it's the most ambiguous advice you can give people, which is that uncanny valley. So feeling like something is just not right with the thing that's going on should be followed. You should really pay attention to it because I think it's the best thing we've got to guard against, like the first defense to guard against this kind of attack.
This takes me back to when I was working at a cybersecurity startup, and one of the director of HR went to CVS and bought a bunch of gift cards, came back and was like, here you go, to the CEO. And the CEO was mad. And then the director of HR started to describe all of the things that the attacker asked them to do. They asked them to respond to an email. Then they asked them to respond to a text. Text me your number. Yeah. They started to text them. and they said go to CVS and buy everyone at the company gift cards that want to celebrate and honor our employees. So the HR director did exactly that. And then he came back to find that the company was upset because they were a fair company. They wanted to reimburse them, but that's not how you want to spend your money.
No.
But there's a lot of vibes that you could have kind of caught on to, like, all right, would my CEO reach out over email and then ask me to text them? Would they ask me to drive to CVS during the workday? And then as you're checking out to CVS, is there any part of your gut that says, I need to give them a call?
Absolutely, yeah. It's something like, it's so important to me. I spend, even my mum now, my old mum, she's completely got it instilled within her, this thing.
Yeah.
So she sent me a message the other day saying, this isn't right, is it? And it was a message that from, I've got a brother and a sister, and it said, hi mum, my screen is broken, but there was a misspelling in it. And she was like, this doesn't feel right. And I'm so proud that my mum has picked up on this. If the vibe feels off, then you need to draw a line in it, and like, it may be genuine, but do something else. Contact people back. Like, it's always my advice is stop. Like, if it's unusual, stop, take a break, speak to somebody else, and then contact the person who contacted you via your own means. I think it's such an innate sense with this. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what the evolutionary reason is, but somewhere along the way, we have developed that innate sense to spot something that just feels off. And I can't shout about that enough, that people just need to pay a little more attention. They could be right. It could be genuine, the thing that's happening. But if it feels wrong, you need to find out. You need to ask the question.
I got to speak with Elon and David from the company, and they spoke about CovertSwarm doing adversary emulation. And I would imagine that with this emulation, this is a big part of it, and also a huge assessment to how your organization responds to this type of threat, like someone doing something seemingly normal, but it's just not actually the normal behavior.
Yeah, and it's happening a lot, really. I think the biggest factor in it now is how invested in worrying about it the person is on the other end of. So for my phishing phone calls, the difference between me calling up somewhere and asking for a password and like multi-factor device reset, if they are somebody who's invested in the company and cares about what they do, is very different to a third-party service desk who doesn't really know the company, who's not related to it, as to how much they'll listen to that inner voice, or how much it's just not worth their while to listen to that inner voice that says, stop. It's definitely a very fundamental part of attacks, trying to overcome that feeling that people get, that suspicion they get, especially of my things.
I've come to grip that my voice will be created using synthetic voices because it's out there a lot. But for someone that has some of their information, whether it be their voice, their pictures, looking at technology like this, what should they be considering?
It's difficult to pin down how you can ever counter it.
Yeah.
I would always advise that people have as minimal online as possible, because...
Oops.
Yeah, I know. But there's something to say about what your stuff online. And actually, I noticed some things along the way when I was doing the voice clone for you.
Yeah.
There's a very fundamental thing I found when I'm doing voice cloning, where if I'm wanting to like leave an answer phone message on somebody's phone, the great thing that people don't answer their phones anymore. So if you call up with a pre-recorded message, you can just leave that and they'll get it as an answer phone message. But the stuff you find out online when you're searching for, say you have a CEO that you want to do a call at, you'll find that the stuff they have online is on podcasts, is on stage, it's on when they're using what I call the broadcast voice, when they're putting themselves out there in a way that they speak when they're out in public. And that's not how people speak when they leave an answer phone message at 10 o'clock at night. And when I was looking through content for you, it was very difficult to find anything that was natural, just pure relaxed, you're sitting having a relaxed conversation.
Yeah.
But everything you did was using broadcast voice.
Yeah. A little theatrical.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how different your home voice is, but
10 o'clock is a lot different. Yeah, 10 o'clock is a lot different.
So yeah, for people who have their voices out there, that broadcast voicing at the moment, the AI still can't really deal with scaling that down to the comfortable, normal conversational voice. I have a tactic for it, which is I can just call that person up and get them to speak for a couple of minutes about nothing important on the phone.
Yeah.
And then I have their telephone voice, which I can then clone from. 2 minutes will do me fine. And that can then be used to attack them with. So there is ways around it.
Yeah.
But it's most of the time, the stuff that people put online isn't going to be crafted into anything.
We could try something real quick.
Sure.
We can call my mom.
Sure.
See if she responds to it. Should we do it? All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Let me get the.
And I already have her pulled up too. Oh, over there.
Hi, Mom. It's me.
Hey, what's going on? Hello? I
Hey.
can't hear you.
What's
Hello?
up? I can hear you. What's on your mind?
What's your mind?
Oh, just thinking about tech and podcasts. How about you?
You said what?
I was just thinking about tech and podcasts. What are you interested in?
Do you know this is your mother?
I didn't realize. It's great to hear from you. What have you been up to?
What have you been up to?
Mom, it's me.
I know it's you.
That was an AI voice.
I thought it was. I thought it was. I sit up there and say, this really don't sound like him. And I think somebody's yanking my chain right about now. And I'm going to try not to say yes, for sure.
I was just called. We're actually doing a podcast, and someone created that voice of me, and I was like, "Let me see if my mom will be fooled by that."
I'm just like, You see, I was being evasive.
Yeah, smart. Thank you, Mom. Good cybersecurity training.
Oh, good. Hey, I passed the test. Huh?
You did. All right, we're gonna finish this episode, and I'll call you later.
Okay, love you.
All right, love you too. Bye.
So your mom has a good sense of Uncanny Valley, is what we're saying.
The vibe check is real.
Yeah, the vibe check is real. It's real. It's why it's impressive, but it's that final bit. It's the smoothness. We could give it more instructions.
Yeah.
We could tell it more. We could give it more detail. We could tell it more how to speak. We could give it better style, but it still wouldn't be you,
Right.
fundamentally.
So what is the future of all this? Because I mean, this is obviously interesting. It's exciting, but is this something that we should, look at for social engineering and adversary? How adversaries are going to react in the future?
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
100%.
Okay.
Definitive answer there. 100%. If you look at what's coming, so OpenAI's new voice models that are being rolled out with the kind of detail and finesse and the subtlety and nuance that they have in the way they flow, they're just the first to implement that and start rolling out. It will soon start being implemented in others. So it will understand tone of voice. It will understand it and it will be able to respond with tone of voice. It will be easier to train how people's voices actually go up and down in different ways.
Yeah.
The fact that then it can be automated, you give it a selection of voices and it can just keep trying somebody's contact list. That the moment you can automate things, people are going to give it a go.
Right.
And the human element never stops being the easiest way into an organization, into a system of any kind. It's always the quickest route.
Yeah.
And I think the more we add something that feels human on the other side of it, the more vulnerable they become.
For sure.
But your mom's going to be fine, so that's all good.
Yeah, she's good to go. She's good to go. I'm very proud of her. I'm also proud that there's opportunities to make copies of myself. I think that could be very special for family members in the future if I were to pass away. Hopefully not. But I mean, I'm very excited about this. I'm excited to learn more about CovertSwarm, especially more than ever now, knowing that you're creating awareness and education for people to get into the field and help educate and inform companies.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone that's out there that wants to learn more about this space, maybe they even want to join the Academy Hive, what would be your piece of advice for them?
Just stay engaged with it. Stay interested. It's changing so quickly. the biggest thing for me about all of this stuff is about the passion to really learn about it and find joy in these things. So anybody who like wants to move forward with this should be Googling every day what new services are out there, what new models are out there, what's going on with it. And you don't have to be an expert now is the great thing. You just have to be engaging with it and learning enough little bits every day and stacking that up until, you can do something with it. And I think if you're having fun with it, that's the thing that's going to lead you to actually moving forward with it.
Well, I'm gonna go home, create a Google alert immediately. I need to stay ahead of this tech. I think that's great advice. Stay curious and always do your research. Iain, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know it's Black Hat DEF CON week, but thank you, and also thank you to CovertSwarm for being a great partner to Hacker Valley. And with that, we will see everyone next time.